Hello and welcome to Biz Aid Venture Capital Fund System. Here we are at the home page, and at the home page we can see different dashboards. We will go over the dashboards later. After, we will go over the different entities of the system. Let's start the presentation with looking at the accounts. Here we can see different types of accounts. We can see private investors, we can see loans, institutional investors, fund equity, and contact persons at the institutional investor. We can see different views of different types of investors. Let's go to the private investors view. Here we can see the name of the investor, his potential investment value, and the employee who recruited this investor. Let's go in one of those investors. This is Donald Robinson's account. We can see that Donald is a private investor. We can write here free description text. We can see that the employee who recruited Donald is Fuxeran, and Donald's potential investment value is $5 million. We can navigate through the account by using the scroll bar or by clicking here on the sidebar. First, we can see Donald's commitment to Fund 2009. He is committed for $2 million and his share in the fund is 40%. Next, we can see Donald's actual investments in different projects. We can see whether he is a direct investor or is investing by a fund. We can see the investment amount and his share in each project. Here, we can see the money transfer date. At the first line, we do not have a money transfer date because the money was not transferred yet, and therefore his share in the project is still 0%. Next, we'll see the payments. We can see the payments that Donald has transferred to each of the projects he is invested in, and also in one of the projects, the 37 signals that is already finished, we can see the final payment that Donald has received from the project of $1,560,000. Under contact information, we can see all Donald's contact details and also his preferred contact methods. We can see that Donald prefers to be contacted by email, wishes not to be contacted by phone, allows us to send him marketing materials, and the last date that he was included in a marketing campaign is the 4th of January 2012. Last, we'll see action items that we had with Donald, for example sending him a fax or having an appointment with Donald. Let's go now and see the fund that Donald is committed to. First, we'll see his commitment to the fund. We can see here the fund he is committed to, the name of the investor, the amount that he is committed to this fund, $2 million, and his share in the fund, 40%. We can see when this commitment was obtained and when is the end date of this commitment. Here we can see who recruited this investor, this commitment, the amount used so far, which is $1,200,000, and the amount that is still left to be used, which is $800,000. Let's go inside the fund. So this is the fund, and we can see this fund is using US dollars. Here we can write free description text, and in the fund details we can see that this fund is already closed. Using this button we can choose different stages for this fund, and with here we can add new stages to the fund. We can see when this fund has started to recruit commitments, when the fund started, and when is the end date of the fund. We use this area for the recruitment stage. We can declare here the amount, the target amount for this fund. Here, the system will calculate for us how much was already committed to this fund, and here the system will show us how much is still left to be recruited based on our target amount. And in here, in this table, we can see all the fund commitments. We can see the name of the investor, the amount he's committed to, and his share in the fund. And from this area, we can call for money from the fund, from the investors, whenever the fund wants to invest in a project. So we can here select the project that we want to invest in, write down the amount we want to invest in the project, and click Save. Now we want to notify the investors to send us the money for this project. Therefore, we mark all of them. We go to Run Workflow, and we select Call for Commitments. Now the system will automatically notify all the investors that they need to transfer money for this project, and for each investor, the system will show how much money exactly this investor needs to transfer according to his share in the fund. We will see those notifications later in the presentation. And here we can see the investments that this fund has made to different projects. We can see active investments, investment that the money is already transferred to them. We can see here the investor, we can see his share in the project, and we can see the amount that was transferred by this investor. And we can see notified investments, like the ones that we've just did for the BitTorrent project. We can see that Donald Robinson was notified concerning this project, and he needs to transfer $800,000 for this project. So let's see the notification that was sent to him. So here is his investment of $800,000. It was not sent yet, the money was not transferred yet. And here we can see the notification that was sent to him by the system automatically. Each investor will receive the same email, but with his personal details. For example, here, it's Dear Donald Robinson. We can see the project name that he needs to transfer the money for, and we can see the exact amount he needs to transfer for this project. We can add here to the email any other important information that we want, like the account number of the account he needs to transfer the money to. So let's save and close this email. And let's go now to see an investment in a project that is already active. So here's the information about Donald Robinson investing in this project, 37 Signals. So he invested $1,200,000 in this project, and his share in the project is 26.67%. Let's see first the payments that he received for this project. So here are two payments. One is the payment that he has done at the beginning of $1,200,000 as an investment. And since this project is already closed, we can see that he received a payment from this project of $1,560,000 US. So let's Now enter the project itself. So here we can see this specific venture, the 37 Signals venture. We can see that it is a single venture, meaning that it is a standalone, but we can also choose here multiple ventures, and then we can have the details of all the ventures that are included in this venture. So in here we select a single venture, and we can also relate it to another venture using this field. So this venture is in US dollars, and the sector is internet, and we can see the person that is in charge of this venture, which is Mary Clark. And let's go over some details of the venture. We can see here the venture costs. Here's the estimated cost, the actual purchase price and extra purchase costs, and the date this venture was purchased on. And then the system calculates for us the total venture cost. Since this project is already sold, we can see the date of sale, we can see the sale price, extra sale costs, and then the system will automatically calculate for us the revenue of this project. We can enter here general information, free text description, and if we will enter here an address for example for real estate project, then we will see here the Google map. Here we can see the investments and payments of this project. We can see the names of all the investors. We can see if they were investing by fund, or it was equity, loan, or direct investor. So we can see all types of investors here. We can see their share in the project, and we can see their amount of investment. We can see a chart of all the payments made for this project and by this project to the investors. So we can see for each investor the amount that he paid and the amount that he received at the end of the project. So the amount he invested and the final amount he got when the project was finished. And we can also see it in a grid. Let's close the project and go over some of the goals for the sales team. So now let's enter the goals. The goals are under the sales team. Goals. And here are the goals for each of the employees in our company. Let's enter one of them. So here's Varda's goal. We can see here the goal metric. We will go over it soon. We can see the employee and his manager. We can see the goal period type. We have chosen custom period, so we could define the period from when until when this goal would be calculated, but we could also choose fiscal period, daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly. The target in this case is $3 million. We can also define child goals. In a case of a manager or of a team manager, we can define here the goals of all his team members, and we can take into account when we look at his goal, we can take into account the sum of all the goals of all his employees. Let's see it here. Here we can see the actual amount that was raised by Varda and the period that it was calculated. So Varda so far have raised $2,400,000 US out of the 3 million of her target, meaning her percentage achievement is 80%. The last day that this system have calculated her goal is the 9th of December. And this is the exact time. We can always choose to click this button, recalculate, and recalculate it again. Here, in the goal criteria, we can say whether she is employee, therefore we are not including any child goals. If she was a manager and I would wish for it, I could click here and say that I want to calculate the child goals into the manager's goal. Here, we say whether or not we want the system to calculate only records that this employee is the owner of them, or other records. In this case, what is important to us is to see that the employee is the recruiter. Therefore, we have defined this query. We have defined the query where the recruiter of the record equals the employee. Therefore, it is not important to us whether or not the employee is also the owner of the record, and we chose all. Let's save and close the goal. And now we're at the dashboard. Here at the dashboard, we can see some interesting charts and information. So for example, here we see the active goals chart. So we can see for every employee his target amount and how much he achieved so far. Here we can see the investment status. We can see how many investments we have that are already active. We see how many are still in the forecast stage, and we see how many were already notified to the investors. So we can see it for the current fiscal year. Here we see a list of all the active investors. So we have here the active investors view, and we can look for investors from this field, or we can just click and open one of the investors. Down here I can see all the activities that are open currently in the system. I can go here and I can choose to see only my activities or only open activities. So this is what we have now at the dashboard, but each one can determine his own dashboard and can change it very quickly, manually, and see here everything that is interesting for him to see on a daily basis. Next, we'll go over the marketing campaigns. First, let's see the marketing lists that we are using in the campaign. So here, we can define the new marketing lists. We can define dynamic lists, meaning, for example, in this case, any investor who has invested more than $500,000 will get on the list. Or we can define static lists, meaning that only the investors we have defined at the beginning are on the list and no new investor will enter this list. Now we are using those marketing lists in our campaigns. So let's now go over the campaigns. Here we have many campaigns. Let's look, for example, on the monthly newsletter campaign. So here is the monthly newsletter campaign. And first we'll see the target marketing lists that we have defined for this campaign. These are the marketing lists that we have defined for this campaign. So we see the special investors marketing list, which is a static list, and the monthly newsletter, which is a dynamic list. And we can always add a new marketing list from this button. We can either click on new and create a new marketing list, or we can add a new marketing list from the list that we've already defined and click on add. Let's see the properties of the monthly newsletter list. So this is the monthly newsletter marketing list, and let's click here on manage members and see the list of members. So the list of members of this marketing list will be all the accounts that their type equals contact person, institutional investor, or private investor. We can click find to see what are the results of this query. So it is fine, we can use this query. And let's save and close the monthly newsletter. So we have the lists of investors that we want. Let's go now to the campaign activities. So we can see here that the November newsletter was already sent, and now we would like to create a new activity for the December newsletter. So we'll click on add new activity, and the first thing we need to do is select the channel. So we have many channels. We can select phone activity, we can send everyone an appointment, but in this case we want to send everyone emails. So I'm selecting the email channel, and then I'll give it a subject. And we'll click save. Now I can always schedule the start date for a future date, and then the emails will be sent only when the scheduled start date arrives. But in this case, I don't mind sending them right away, so I will not fill in any scheduled start date. So I will just go to distribute campaign activity, and I have here the email. I can write the subject and the text of the email, or in this case I would like to use a template. So it's very easy to define templates and then use them later. I'm selecting the monthly newsletter template, and I click OK, and then I click distribute. I want it to be sent from my email, and that's it. The email messages are created. So here are the emails. We can enter, for example, Donald Robinson email, so I can see it is personalized to Donald. So it is sent from me to Donald regarding the monthly newsletter of December, and here it says, Dear Donald Robinson. And here with the template I can also have attachments. Also I can see failures. So here are 3 investors that did not receive the email, probably because there is a problem with their email address. So I can enter each and every one of them. I can correct the email, and then I can resend this campaign. I can make a new campaign activity and send them the newsletter. I will define here that anyone who received any email in the last, let's say, 3 or 4 days until I have corrected the emails will not receive it again. So anyone who already received the monthly newsletter will not receive this newsletter again. So I can save and close the campaign activity, and so this is how the system looks from the Outlook. You can see here you have your personal folders with the inbox and sent items, and you have the archive folders, and then underneath that you have your system, and underneath that you have everything that we already saw when we looked at the system. We have our workplace with our special things that we need, for example, with our dashboards. And we have the accounts, and we can search for accounts from this field, and we can see if we are standing on any line. We can see here a quick preview. We can look here for the investments, etc. So all of the functionality of the system is here in the Outlook, and everything that we do either from here or from the system, we can see it on our calendar, and we can see our contacts, and we can see our tasks. Everything is synchronized between the Outlook and the system, so it's very easy to use. Also, I must say, you can see everything from your mobile phone. If you have a smartphone, you can work on the system when you are going for a meeting, or when you're on the roads. You can see everything from there. You can enter all accounts, all investments, all projects from your mobile phone. And even if you're not on the phone, you can update it. You can do anything from your smartphone, and you can do everything from your Outlook. Back to the home page, let's see some new features of Microsoft. First is recently viewed pages and views. So if I click here, I can see recently visited pages and recently visited views. So I don't need to go and research again for an investment or project or account that I recently viewed. I can just go here and select it from the list. The same with views. If I want to see my campaigns or my active contacts or active ventures, I can click here and see the view again. Also, I can pin something to the list, so I would see it again even if the time has passed. It will not go off the list. So I can pin a recently viewed page, and I can pin a recently viewed view. So if I pin something, then it would not go off. If I unpin it, it would go off the list once I view other things. Another nice feature is the What's New feature. So here I can write down notes that everyone that is inside the system can read, and comment. So example, in this case, I can comment about a note and everyone can see my comment. Also, I can edit it here and browse and enter my picture. So when I comment or when I write things, people would see my picture here. Another thing that I can do is I can follow accounts. For example, in this case, I follow 2 accounts. I can also follow users. So I'm following Donald Robinson and Lisa Lopez, and everything new that happens to Donald Robinson and to Lisa, I will see here on my What's New. So if they have a new investment or a new phone call or new email, I will see here that someone talked to them or someone sent them an email, or that they have a new project or a new investment. So I will see everything on my What's New. Thank you very much for watching our presentation. We would be happy to be of your assistance for further information, and if you want, you can contact us to receive a 30 days free trial